creative living, utilizing today's technology with the best of the past to bring you innovative ideas and up-to-date information for creative lifestyles in today's active world. With your host, Cheryl Borden.
Cheryl, thank you so much for being here. My mother was quite the quilter, and my grandmother, and they did it, so I didn't see any reason to learn. But as a little girl, I always remember that pattern called the Drunkard's Path, and they never told me what it meant, so maybe you can enlighten us all.
Me neither. I always thought, I don't want to make that quilt, you know. But I had to read about it, and in the Prohibition days, that was a popular pattern, was the Drunkard's Path, and it was supposed to illustrate that, you know, the drunk walked a windy way. So
that's how it came about.
Yes.
So, well, that's interesting, and we're going to show sort of thinking outside the box of the Drunkard's Path. But
That's right.
I've always wanted to know the history of how that came about. For those of us who are not of the quilting expertise that you are, you said this is basically the original pattern.
yeah, that's the more
shapes.
traditional shape.
And you just had to take it a little farther.
I can't follow the rules, you know.
Well, thank goodness you didn't, because you've come up with something even more beautiful.
Thank you.
And this is all black and white.
Yes.
And various shades in between. And this is the pattern you did, and I noticed circles. You love circles, don't you?
I love circles, yes. My friend Carla Schultz made that, and you notice it's black and white, but it's quilted all over with red thread. She's a character.
That's a great touch. It gives it a pop.
It does, doesn't it?
But this is basically, you can see the winding path throughout, through the circles, and that's the story. Okay, but you're going to make us one today out of, it's going to look totally different.
Yes, totally different. Out of batik fabric. I'm working with a theme of red and blue, some favorite colors. So I've cut squares, just simple squares, and I'm going to fold this square in half and give it a press.
Now this one is definitely supposed to be smaller than this one.
Yes, this is going to be our circle, and this is going to be our frame. Good point, good point, Cheryl. Okay, and then you're going to fold that in half and get a square.
Okay.
And then we're going to fold the larger one.
Oh, in triangles.
Yes, in triangles, diagonally and then diagonally again. Now I have some that I've already pressed.
And I've never heard of doing this. This is interesting.
It works really neat.
Oh yeah.
So here's one that's already pressed.
Press it.
Now you mentioned how much I love circles, and that's really true. It's not hard to sew a circle, believe it or not.
Yeah.
What's hard is cutting them right. If you have them cut right, they'll fit right together.
That's a good point.
So my husband and I developed this tool in 2004, and it's called the Cut Around, and it cuts exact circles every time.
That takes all the work out of it.
It takes
and the worry.
Absolutely. And we've done it so we can set circles in. But not only can we set exact circles, but we also make a circle that builds in that 1/4 of an inch, so that when you sew it back together, it's a true circle. And you won't notice it.
Always use that 1/4 inch.
Oh, you've got to have that 1/4 inch. So for my circle that I'm going to set in, I've chosen the size 9 inches. Notice that when I hold it like this, it holds it firm. There's no need for those little sticky tabs. I'm just going to cut around there.
Wow. And you're right. If you tried to do that on a line with scissors,
I've tried it. It was just so hard. So I've got an exact circle. Now I'm going to take my frame fabric, and I'm going to place, even though it was folded differently, I'll place the cut around.
And I see why it's important to press it, because you want it to be exact when you cut.
Exact division into fourths, yes. Now the hole has to be smaller than the circle. So we're going to cut the hole at 8 inches.
Oh,
this
an
was
inch.
9, an exact inch smaller. And so I just cut around there. Notice I'm holding my rotary cutter exactly erect rather than pushing it.
Aren't those wonderful tools?
Oh my goodness. My grandma always said if she had one of those, she could have gone to town.
She could have.
So now we're going to take both the,
this is the frame, that's right. And this is what you cut out, the circle.
We're going to take our frame and our circle, and we're going to fold those again. Just give them a little pinch.
This is kind of like if we've inserted elastic in pants, you divide it into 4 so that it
Exactly, so you don't end with that bunch on your
distributes.
side. Yes, exactly. Okay, so we'll give them a little pinch, and we'll do the same thing on our circle. That divides that into 8s. When we've got that, we're ready to put the two together. So I'll have my frame.
I can't imagine how this is ever going to work, to be truthful.
It's going to surprise you. We've got the two together, right side up. We're going to bring that frame piece over the top, and where there's a fold, we match our folds. Remember, that's our exact divisions, like this and like this.
And you're distributing that fullness. Is
Exactly.
What you're doing.
In fact, I have one that's already folded for you. Looks kind of funny,
It
I
looks
know.
like those casserole carriers that
Doesn't
you
it though? It does. We have our frame on top and our circle on the bottom. We've pinned it 8 times. No more pins than that though. That's all you need. And you're going to come over here to your sewing machine.
And so the good thing about quilting and piecing is that everything's straight stitch.
It's straight
So
stitched.
any old or new sewing machine will do this.
That's right. And you don't try to pull this and straighten it. You just let it. It's a very gentle curve, and you're only going to sew from pin to pin.
Oh,
And if
okay.
you just focus on that, I take my left hand and, kind of walk my fingers so that the edges come together and sew it.
Okay.
I have 2 here that are sewn.
This is amazing.
See how nice
Look
and smooth?
Yes, how
There's
flat
no
it
ripples,
is.
it's flat. And then again, that's because of that math in that tool. Everything fits together.
I'm
Now-
glad there's people like you that figured that stuff out so that the rest of us can just enjoy using it. I like the back
Thanks.
side. That's amazing to see how
Isn't
it
that
does lie
crazy?
so flat.
Okay, the
Okay,
next
but
thing.
now you didn't just lay these out and piece them, did you? What do you do to this now?
Okay, you're going
I
to be
love
surprised.
these patterns together. Well, these look great. Are these ready to go into the quilt like this, or what do we do next?
No, next we're going to cut them. Let me show you what we're going to do with these. We're going to take, normally I'd use just a regular ruler, but today we're going to substitute here. And I'm going to cut from corner to corner. Watch your little fingers.
Okay, I'll get out of the way.
From corner to corner. And then we're going to turn our mat and cut from corner to corner again. Just like
Will that
this.
work? I'm going to put the corners on them.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, it seems such a shame to cut that after it was so beautifully sewn.
Oh, listen, you don't know how, this is when the fun starts.
Oh, I guess so.
Is when we make these units.
I'd be proud if I got that far, though.
Okay, so
Okay.
now we've got this
4
piece
pieces.
here. And you can see we're going to make some framed in blue and some framed in red, and you use your whole collection of pieces.
Anyway.
Anyway, you want to see what I can do with these?
Yes.
Let me show you. We'll go over here, and this is the quilt I made. And you can see that this is where the block fits in. And by mixing and matching all your different scraps, I have quite a collection. You come up
It's
with such
really
an
hard,
interest-
to look at it. If you didn't have the other one that you just laid there beside it, it's hard to find those. I see
Yeah,
now why we
here
did
is-
cut it.
See, here is your
The original block.
So you're just sewing together squares. But I took all my collection of batiks and put them up on my design wall and played. I had so
Played.
much fun. It was a
I
blast.
hear a lot of quilters say that.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing how it all comes together, starting with the choice of your fabrics, whether it's pastels like in that quilt or the black and white designs here. Every
Or
quilt will look
bright like
different.
this is going to be.
I kind of like the brights. That's my favorite.
It's going to be a bold one.
Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. I appreciate you showing us how to do
Thank
this.
you, Cheryl.